Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Brian, and today is Thursday, October 31st, 2024, and welcome to episode 796 of the Lots Project Mornings Show, where the coffee is strong, the opinions are stronger, and the content is always filter-free. Today, I'm going to be enjoying a silver bullet blend from foodforestfarms.com, where you can get 10% off with discount code LOTS10. That's discount code LOTS10, LOTS10, and the shipping is always free. While you're there, check out C4 Club. C4 Club has plenty of benefits. It's fantastic, and I highly recommend it. And also over there, be sure to check out One Take Records and all the awesome music that Brian is doing under the pen name. I guess, is it a pen name if it's a DJ instead of a writer? Under the pen name Sensei Scramblin. I'm going to throw down in the video description and the comments here on both feeds the Brian's link over at WavLake. I've been talking to him and telling him he should release his music digitally so that people can find it, any more places. He's got it on the website. I figured I could throw it out there, and so I spun him up a WavLake site. That's his album. We got it uploaded yesterday. It's a I guess he would describe it as heavy metal. I don't know if I necessarily go heavy metal, but definitely rock. Freedom anthems, and My C Lee is the name of the album. Check it out there on WavLake and give it a share. It might not be for you, but it might be for somebody you know. So even if you don't like it, give it a share, give it a listen, and see what you think. But yes, foodforestfarms.com is the gateway to all things Scramblin. Today I'm going to be talking about having a little bit of flashbacks last night while we were watching a little bit of TV. Something I saw from Minnesota about naming snow plows. A new show segment that kind of spun out of something we got going on here, and much more. I got a whole browser tab full of fun stories for us to go through today, tomorrow, and into the future. So first things first. It is let's get into that live chat, see who's hanging out, grab a cup, and hang out for about an hour. Good morning, Vertical Feed. Let's hit Vertical Feed first. Courtney Baker. Good morning, Courtney. How are you? Thanks for joining. She says, good morning. Got here before the husband. Wow. Aren't you lucky, girl? Usually not what she said. Jesus. All right. And now I'm heading over into the main feed. This is going to be both from the old channel and the new channel. If you're on the old Lots Project channel, if you jump down into the comments and grab the link to the new morning show channel on YouTube, we're building that up. I'm separating, I'm diversifying, I'm focusing channels on specific content, and the morning show is going to have its own channel. Isn't going to, it already does have its own channel. Link is in the video description, or in the comments. But Jeremiah in early, good morning, Jeremiah. Thanks for stopping. Pip, good morning, humans. Thanks, Pip. Good morning, Seattle. Speak of the devil, Sensei Scramblin under the name Good Morning Seattle. That's his podcast show that comes on after this some days. Not sure right now what the schedule is. Maybe one Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or I'm not sure. Rewilder Life says no ad. Oh, did I forget to turn? I think I forgot to turn ads on the main feed. I've been setting everything up on the new morning show channel. So John Palmer, good morning and good day. And he got notified today. That's good. You got notified on the new channel. That's good. That's a good thing. Blakesley Acres, good morning. Got me on in the shop, I hope, to educate those employees for all the wisdom that maybe their boss might not put into their brain. Good morning, Take the Ride. How are we doing? Thanks. Good morning, friends. Good morning, Seattle. So finished the country music album last night. I got that in my email, Brian. I will see if I can get it up today. I have a bunch of interviews for Director Detour laid out pretty much throughout the day. spaced out. So I'll see if I can get that up, and if not, maybe this evening or tomorrow morning before I head out for laundry. So new album coming from Sensei, Scramblin. I believe this one's a little bluegrass country fusion. So nice. Hunter, good morning. Hunter, your wife's over in the vertical feed. Good morning, Hunter. And Pip says on the morning show side now. Thanks, Pip. So it's October 31st, and you know what that means. You all know what that means. October 31st every year, we need to celebrate Bitcoin White Paper Day. Woo! You thought I was going to say Halloween, didn't you? This day, 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto sent out on a cryptocurrency. Wouldn't it be a Bitcoin message board? Cryptocurrency message board. The Bitcoin White Paper. Happy Bitcoin White Paper Day, and happy Halloween for those of you that celebrate. With Bitcoin White Paper Day, I thought that I would roll out the new segment on the show today. It has to do with the green and the red. Everybody always, not everybody, Canadian Farmstead mainly, always noticing the green and the red light up there behind me on the ticker meter. Ticker meter is a little device here that shows the Bitcoin price, and when it's up for 24 hours, well, the settings I have it in it on the 24-hour cycle. If it's up, it's green. If it's down, it's red. This morning we're green. But we're only up a quarter of a percent, 0.25% up. We're sitting at 72,506. But Canadian Farmstead seems to think that the ducks that are on top of the ticker are determining what Bitcoin does for the day. Oh wow, I got comments. I wasn't down on the bottom. Hunter says I was listening to Scramblin's release. Nice. Good morning, Seattle says smash the thumbs up. Yes. Take the ride. Tuning into the new channel now. John Palmer, yes. Bless you, Corey. He is on the new channel and getting notifications. That's good. I don't know if the new channel takes a while to spin in, and hopefully this stays with the comments now, and I don't get a notification that I load more. So that was interesting. So what we're gonna do every morning, and I think this will just kind of fade. It'll go into the intro. We'll take a look. We'll take a look at the ticker meter. We'll take a look at the Bitcoin price, and we will decide. Whether we're going to keep the ducks or we're going to change the ducks. I don't know if it's a standard. If it's green, we leave them. If it's red, we change them. It's like I said, it's a 24-hour cumulative, and it updates I think I got it set to every 5 minutes. So throughout the show, it could change. But once a day, I'll give the opportunity to change the ducks. I have all these other ducks here. I know a place where I could get new ducks if I needed different ducks if I start to run out, and these are become unlucky ducks. But today, on Bitcoin White Paper Day, what do you say in the audience? We'll give it a vote. Most changes. If changes gets the most, we'll do it. So should we keep the ducks or change the ducks today? What do you think? Is it going to affect the price? I don't know. Canadian Farmstead says he doesn't want to. He doesn't want all that pressure to have to decide. I was going to make him decide every day whether we should change him or keep him, but I thought I would throw it at the audience. So if you think we should change them, let me know. I'll pop up some new ones. If you think we should leave them, just say keep them. Good morning, Seattle says keep them. We're kind of on a stagnant 2-day cycle though, where we haven't moved out of about a 1% change. I don't know. We got one vote for keep them. We're keeping the Mohawk duck and the mini purple duck as of right now. So Anyway, I'll keep an eye on votes coming in, and we'll decide by the end of the show what we will do. Let's see. First thing on the list. So I told you guys the other day that we're our new decompress, don't want to watch a movie, don't have time for a movie, want to throw something on and have it in the background on Amazon. We've moved back to Highway Through Hell. The heavy wrecker. Jeremiah says, I know Canadian Farmstead doesn't like when they get changed out, so change them. All right, we got one keep and one change. Highway Through Hell. So we started watching Highway Through Hell. We've seen it before. I don't know if there's new episodes that we haven't seen. Sorry, guys, I need a sip. I don't know if there's new episodes that we haven't seen. We've seen a bunch of them. But basically, it's about British Columbia and the Coquihalla Highway, and a guy called Jamie Davis and his tow company, several other tow companies. It's in the same vein as like the gold shows and like Yukon Gold and what the hell was the one with the guy named Todd where they're up in Canada? Gold Rush. I don't know what the name of it is. I can't remember. But where they went up and they mine the gold and they follow all the different companies, the different setups. This is similar to that, but they follow a few different tow truck companies. It started out with just the one, and then as the show became popular, they moved on to different companies, and they had a whole bunch of different guys that they followed, and you kind of got involved in their stories and blah blah blah. Typical reality TV. So Corey and I'll throw it on, and since we've already seen it, like if I'm doing show prep or doing other things, like it can just be on in the background, and it's something. It's slightly entertaining. I get geeked out about the physics in it. Like I don't really the drama part of it, the story part of it is absolutely asinine, and it drives me up the wall. But the wrecks and the the wrecks and the physics behind it are what get me. Like when I see it, I'm like, oh, I wonder how they're gonna get that out. And then I really geek out on the rigging, and I wish they showed more of it. But yeah, that's why I like the show. The other shit just drives me nuts. But anyway, so we had it on last night. Good morning, Seattle says Lizard Lick towing, Big Juicy chasing Bubba around. See, that's the shit I don't give a shit about. If you said Big Juicy hooking onto a semi that was hanging off since I'm watching Highway Through Hell, Big Juicy hooking onto a semi hanging off a cliff, and he needed to use two tow trucks and one of them being undersized to pull up over a ravine, and the load is radioactive bombs. If you gave me that, I'd be like, oh shit, when do I tune in? John Palmer says I was absolutely obviously drawn to it because I drive a truck for a living. Yeah. And the semi recoveries is that semi? Hey John, you drive one for a living. Is it semi or is it semi? Is it a me at the end or is it a my at the end? I don't know. They call it a semi in Canada, I guess. But anyway, that's why I like the show. I like the figuring it out, and the wrecks. The wrecks kind of do it for me too. Not that I want to see anybody wreck, but if they are, I get kind of geeked out about watching it. So last night we were watching it, and they were talking about. John Palmer says, like when you see a pretty girl. I don't I don't get excited about pretty girls anymore. I have my pretty girl. I I, I've seen a lot of pretty girls. I used to pay to see a lot of pretty girls. I don't. I just it is what it is. It women all have the same parts. Like you get you get you get immune to it maybe. Um, but I know what you mean. Good Morning Seattle was in the wrong channel. He's like, where is everybody? He keeps talking to the people that aren't there. Anyway, so last night we were watching and we had it on. Went out to dinner with our friends. It's going to be a while before we see him again. I hope you guys have a great trip, and we'll see you in a while. But we were watching it before bed, and they were going through a pretty rough patch in the season, and there were like avalanche warnings. They had record setting snowfalls. They had day after day of road closures, and these guys were working like 36 hours straight without sleeping, blah blah blah. And they pulled them out. They were going to this job where they were pulling this car up over a ravine. It was like 1,000 foot down in this river, and they're headed out, and they're on their way there, and it starts snowing, and it starts blowing, and it starts raining, and this, that, and then they're talking, the temperature is supposed to drop, and they called it off for the day, and they went out the next day. And the next day was even worse, but they thought it was better because it wasn't snowing, it wasn't bad roads, it wasn't slippery. They weren't going to have vehicles swinging by them while it was wet and slippery. But he's like, "Oh, it's negative 23. We've been up for a couple days. Blah blah blah. All this, the wind. They're showing the wind and I'm like, I started having flashbacks. I really started having flashbacks to getting those after hours calls when I was a gas tech in Minnesota. And it would be negative double digits. Not necessarily. We had some bouts of the negative 20, negative 30 overnight. It never really was consistently that cold. We did have some negative double digits during the day a couple times while I was in that job. We did get called off once in the 6+ years I was there. Because of cold, and that was only because the employees forced their hand, and that was at negative 30. But these guys are talking about it, and they're like, oh yeah, and I'm like, I was having flashbacks. I was like, this shit sucked. We all said it was okay. All my coworkers and I, when we talked to each other, were like, man, it was cold, but yeah, whatever. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And if you talk to anybody that wasn't out there in it, you were like, whatever, it's fine. It's just, once it's cold, like all the things you hear. That's fucking bullshit. It sucked. I'll tell you right now, it fucking sucked. I don't give a shit what somebody says. They could be out in a fuck t-shirt in negative 20 Fahrenheit, and they're like, oh, it's not that bad. It fucking sucks. It sucks. You might be used to it. You might be cold-blooded. You might have been raised where it's that cold. Let me have you do the same job in 70 and sunny and tell me that negative 30 doesn't fucking suck. Take the ride says negative 30. I've never experienced it before. What you'll experience is the moisture in your nose freezes, so all your nose hairs freeze together. The liquid in your eyes, like your tears, they start to freeze, and your eyelids freeze together. If you have any sort of facial hair, as you breathe, you accumulate like an ice mask on the hair in front of your face just from your breath coming out, and it's not hot enough to stay liquid or gaseous. Your fingers hurt all the time. You can't put enough gloves on to keep them warm. Do you need any more? You wear 16 layers of clothes all the time for months on end. John Palmer says human beings are not meant for that. That's what I say. No, if you live somewhere where it gets that cold and you commute to work, or you walk out to your mailbox, or you go out to warm up your car, you go shopping and you walk in from the parking lot, you can deal with it. I'm talking about the outside for extended periods of time, 4, 5, 6 hours, and not just being outside, trying to perform a job, trying to use your hands, trying to have dexterity, trying to mentally focus on troubleshooting and problem solving when your brain is really just frozen. Good morning, Seattle says big difference between high mountain snow cold versus city snow cold. It doesn't snow when it's that cold, though. When it gets to that -30, it doesn't snow. And if it does, it's white, it's light, wispy, and the wind's usually blowing, and it just makes it white out. So I was just having flashbacks to sitting in a parking lot. I can tell you where it was. The coldest night I ever went out on an after hours call was in Hugo, Minnesota, at a quick trip, and I was in a sump in the parking lot trying to break free a seized pipe union to change a motor. And it was an older store and the sumps weren't that big. And so I had no leverage. I had no room to work, and it was on my van thermometer. It was -20. It was like -26 when I got there. It was -31 at one point, and then when the sun came up, that's how long I was there. When the sun came up, it was tipping back up into the -20s, and it was hours. Like I can picture it like I was there last night. It was one of the most horrific work experiences of my life. And it was after hours, so I got called at like midnight after working the whole day and was expected to work the whole next day. So yeah, it kind of sucked. So I was having those visions last night while I was watching these guys do the 36-hour shifts in the stupid cold and stuff like that. John Palmer says, if you live in a place like that, U-Haul exists. Good morning, Seattle says Fairbanks at -50 was literally insane. Can't turn the cars off. Yeah, like when it got cold, there was only two short periods of time during the year when I would ever turn my van off when I was working. I would, in the summer, I would turn it on, and it would run from the time I left my driveway till the time I parked it, just for the air conditioning. And from like October to May, the same thing happened, but in reverse, so that the heat would stay on. John Palmer says I have PTSD. I mean, literally, probably it was a traumatic situation. Good morning, Strong Roots Resources. Carrie Brow, my friend, how are we doing? Says good morning. Gonna listen while I hit the road to Indiana. Drive safe, brother. Drive safe. Enjoy the time up there. I gave your friend a follow. I haven't had a chance to check out the page though. So thank you for sharing. Take the rides as brutal. Yeah, it was. It sucked. I fixed it though. There is that. I persevered. I made my 22 and change. And it was overtime, so I was getting time and a half. I think that was before our rollout stipend for the after hours that we convinced them that we were worth a little bit more money. Pip says, I don't think I've ever been in attempts in the negative. Like negative, have you been below freezing? So I think we can get you in on a technicality into the negative club. We'll use Celsius. So if you've been below 32 Fahrenheit, you get to join the club because we'll give you a Florida pass on the Celsius side. Oh, so yeah, that's what Jamie Davis is doing to me. That's what Jamie Davis is doing to me. And I think Facebook might have been reading my mind. Real Life says, "Oh, it's bad. Your fingers freeze to anything you touched." Yeah, and wrong industry. Like I was definitely just in the wrong industry. A lot of it, like that. At least that night, I was able to wear gloves for the majority of the work. But sometimes, well, a lot of the times in that job, you were dealing with really tiny screws and nuts and bolts and sensitive parts and things like that. So you couldn't have big, bulky winter gloves on. You had to have bare hands in that cold and extremities. And I couldn't feel my fingers usually by the end of the winter, usually by the beginning of the winter. The only time that it really, my hands started feeling again, they're back a little bit, but the majority of it, I would say, was when I stopped dealing with the fucking cold. When we spent the winter in Texas, it was life-changing for me. I had spent my first 20-ish, 24 years in New York. It was zone 5. It wasn't horrible, but we had winter, and I was a kid out in the snow. We got lots of snow, out in the snow a lot, always cold, but not like frigid cold, but acclimated to the cold. Moved to Minnesota. I was there for 20 plus years in the cold. A lot of the jobs I had over the years, I worked outside. I worked out in the cold, not necessarily all day, but at least a portion of the day. And then I went to Texas, and it wasn't cold, and it was barely freezing for a couple days. It was below freezing, and my body didn't hurt, my hands didn't hurt. I started to get the feeling back in my fingers. And then last year in Tennessee, the same. We had a little cold snap there for a week or two, and other than that, like John said it, humans aren't built to deal with that shit. Really aren't. Ruala says we don't get that cold often here, like once every 5 years. And it wasn't consistent. Like that's super cold, the negative double digits. The problem is overnight, I guess. I was out overnight quite a bit on my on-call rotation. Overnight in the dark, in the cold, without the sun and with the wind, it gets brutal. Especially out in the outlying areas. And for some reason, every time you go to a truck stop, it's the windiest fucking place in the world. You could drive there and there'd not be one lick of wind anywhere, and you drive into that fucking truck stop and it is like a wind tunnel. So working there in the cold was pretty rough. But yeah, like you said, hey, Studio 314 official, thanks for stopping in again. I hope you're still around. I had to have had the Noster chat covered up. Hey, thanks for stopping again. Yeah, so that was the flashbacks I was having, and I think my phone, Facebook, or whatever might have been listening to the Amazon the show on the tablet, because all of a sudden I popped up to look at some stuff, and the story really fit in well with what I was watching, oddly enough, but. It appears that the city of Duluth in Minnesota opened its first snowplow naming contest online. They opened it for voting online. I guess they had already had the submissions. They got over 300 submissions for naming a snowplow. And I was like, oh, whatever. Maybe they're going to try to make money off it. Who knows? But it's not the first one. It's not the first one. They are actually mimicking the state of Minnesota, and 2 other cities have already gone down this road of naming the snowplows. Now, I guess the state of Minnesota, the city of Minneapolis have had cameras in their plows for quite a while. They had it when I was there. Canadian Farmstead, I think I missed you when you stopped in. Good morning. You missed the announcement of the new segment dedicated to you, basically. But change the ducks or keep the ducks. You get to vote on whether we switch up the ducks for the day or keep the ducks for the day. And like I said earlier, we could definitely go from green to red during the show, and it happened. Right now, we're at a 1 day cycle. We're down 0.01%, 0.01% down for the 24-hour period. So I don't know. Right now we're tied. We got one keep and one change. Canadian Farmstead, what do you say? Do we change the ducks or keep the ducks? Anyone else? Feel free to drop your votes in too. And before the end of the show, we'll decide if we're going to change them up or keep them. He also says they should name that thing Snowy McSnowface. Sure. But it appears that the state of Minnesota, the city of Big Lake, and another one have already done this once. And Duluth is the first one I'm seeing. I kind of recall it. I kind of recall this thing going on, and it didn't interest me that much when it happened. I was probably just miserable and frozen and was like, yeah, you have fun with your fucking snowplows. But I guess with the cameras in them, the live streaming cameras and stuff like that, it's a natural progression to Canadian Farmstead says, leave it one more day. All right, we'll check back in tomorrow. And Canadian Farmstead, by the way, happy Bitcoin white paper day. If you didn't know, John Palmer says, as long as it's not yellow snowface. With the live feed cameras and the ability to kind of play it up on this, I think naming them is the natural progression. I think it could be a lot of fun. It could be a lot of fun if they let it be. So I was curious what kind of names they came up with. They had 300 submissions. They're down to 10 finalists. I was like, let me see. Canadian Farmstead says, as long as it's not yellow snowface. Says that's racist. Oh God. Here come the Asian jokes. John Palmer says it's not mustard. I was eating what were we having? Burgers, Corey, with the mustard? I think it was burgers and had a ton of mustard on it, and it was like squirted out all over my face, and I was thinking I was gonna have a repeat of mustard face. Hunter says we should name it your mom. Only if it's a snow blower. So I was curious if they let some good ones in, or if it was going to be like Mr. Plow, shit like that. So I rolled down in the comments. Here are the top 10 choices, and I don't know if you have to be I don't know if you have to be from Duluth, but if you guys are interested in voting in it, I can drop it in the comments. Here's the link. Here's the link to vote on the naming of the Duluth snowplow if you're interested. The 10 finalists, you have until November 4th to vote. Enger plow, not see, a lot of the names will escape me because I'm not in with the Duluth lingo anymore. I'm not in with the Minnesota lingo. Hunter says Fernando Rodriguez del Polva. So we got Enger plow. We got the Blizzard Wizard. Catchy. Good morning, Seattle says we need some practice votes before Tuesday. Right? If you haven't been voting already, what have you been doing? With early voting and mail-in ballots, you should have at least voted 6 or 7 times so far. We got the okay. Let me. I'm gonna put. There's no way I can say this. Just so you know, this is an Ojibwe term, which is a local Indian tribe, Native American tribe, local people tribe. It stands for the one who is plowing snow, who is pushing or plowing snow is what it translates to. Diwaga de blue bi. I'm not even gonna try. I'm gonna put it in the in the comments. I can't even. Why do we have to name things Indian names now? They were renaming shit in Minnesota left and right to renaming it. I guess this one's acceptable. This is a new naming. It's not like they're changing the name of something. They were renaming lakes. They were renaming streets. They were renaming indigenous people. That's it. Couldn't come up with a term. And people we're all here. It doesn't really matter. But they were renaming shit. Canadian Farmstead says the old stream is best. Are you in the old channel? I don't know how to say that choice. Next one is Lake Snowbagon. That's from the Ding Dong Garrison Keeler, if you know him. D-Wagon. Hunter says it's D-Wagon bid OD. I guess. Sure. We got Lake Snowbagon, Sled Zeppelin. I thought that was kind of clever. Sled Zeppelin. Snowdozer. Killdozer would be better. Edgar Allan Plow. Like, what? The Raven. Plowus Maximus. The Duluth, like slang for Duluth, drifter lifter. Canadian Farm says you're already talking about moving the ducks. I don't want to overdo the change. He's just settled in over there in the old main feed. Oh God, I'm sorry. We got the Duluth drifter lifter and the Plowabunga. The Plowabunga. I think if I had to choose, gun to my head, gotta choose. That's a tough one. Maybe Sled Zeppelin. Jeremiah says, Canadian, get your ass in the new chat. He likes it by himself. He's like Hunter. Hunter was the sole Twitch commenter for forever, and I had to shut him down. Revival Life says keep the ducks. That's 3. We got 3 for the day. So looking like we're probably gonna end up. We're gonna ride the ducks another day. Maybe it'll be a Friday change up. Do we ever change the ducks on a green day? Because Green Day was okay before Dookie. Hunter says, yeah, if I'm stuck in the pit, Canadians should be too. Well, here's the deal. I don't know how long I'm going to stream to both. Corey and I kind of talked about it. I talked about it with some other people, and we're thinking 2 weeks. But I have people that cycle through that I don't want them to pop in and be like, what fucking happened? Because I do 2 week hiatuses like crazy here and there because my internet goes away. Figure 2 weeks would be a good time. Canadian Farm says, don't critique a win. Take their eyes, says plowabunga, dude. Is that because they're surfing in Lake Superior up there in Duluth? I don't know. Anyway, they're going to announce the winner during the Christmas City of the North Parade on November 22nd. If you guys want to vote, you can click on that link I threw in the if you want to vote, you have till November 4th. The link is in the chat there. For you audio folks, let me get it in the notes here so I don't forget. I'll have a bunch of extra notes down in the audio and video description when I get them updated. So if you're listening, oh my God, that's the wrong guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. This was not in the plans. John Palmer says, change the ducks, just go against the flow. Canadian Farm says, sure, the internet goes away, or AKA find a drug fanny pack. There wasn't enough there for 2 weeks, guys. I didn't score that big. So yeah, that's the happenings up in Duluth. They get really excited about that kind of shit, naming snow plows and snow anything. So, what else is on the list, man? I got. Let me see, what we should talk about next. You guys know about Henry Box Brown? Anybody ever heard of a guy by the name of Henry Box Brown? I'll give you a time frame. He lived from 1815 to 1897. Ever hear of this guy? I found his story kind of interesting. The picture was what drew me in of what this man went through. Let me see if I can share this. I'm just going to share the picture, and you guys can kind of guess what you think it's all about. Don't read the caption. Don't read the caption. Let me know what you think they're doing with old Mr. Brown there, if you're watching the video feed. Henry Box Brown. Oh, God, now I can't take the picture down. Shit. I can't read the article because the picture's up. Canadian Farm says, wondering if it was a midget debate. Here, let's talk about Henry Box Brown. Henry Box Brown was an enslaved man from Virginia who escaped to freedom at the age of 33 by arranging to have himself mailed in a wooden crate in 1849 to Philadelphia. So this dude was a slave, and I read his story, and it was really kind of sad. Not that any slavery was happy, but this dude, he was born into slavery. He married a woman named Nancy, and that's all I saw for her. They didn't have her last name or anything. Married a woman named Nancy in slavery. Wasn't legally recognized. They were married. They had 3 boys. Henry was sold out for labor at a tobacco factory at 15 years old. So his slave owner sold his labor to a tobacco factory, and he went to work at the tobacco factory. And it sounds like, from what I'm getting, that Henry was making more than he owed. Like, he got a paycheck. Because he rented a house for his wife and his 3 kids. His wife was also a slave. He was paying. His wife wasn't owned by the same person he was, or maybe he was, or maybe she was. It really didn't clarify that. His wife, he was paying his wife's owner to not sell her to someone else. So he was working, he was paying for a house, he was paying so that his wife wasn't sent away to a new slave house, a new slave owner. His wife's owner, which again I couldn't find out if it was the same owner that he had, went behind his back, sold his wife. She was pregnant at the time with her 4th kid. Sold his wife and his 4 kids away. They disappeared. She never saw her again. And at this point, he decided that he wanted freedom. He got in touch with some people in Philadelphia, or he got in touch with someone local that then got in touch with some folks in Philadelphia from the abolitionist movement. And they came up with a plan using the Adams Express Company. So the Adams Express Company was a mail service and parcel and package delivery service that really touted themselves on their confidentiality and their efficiency of travel. So their big claim to fame, what they were going on, was the fact they didn't look at any of their packages, and they got the shit there fast. And so they were big in the abolitionists in the North shipping material, propaganda. Propaganda has such a shitty negative connotation, but this is actually like they were trying to free the slaves. But the South didn't want it coming through. But the Adams Express Company was one of the first companies that said, we don't care what's in the box. We're being paid to move the box, and we're going to do it as efficiently as possible, and we're not going to look. So they became in favor with the abolitionists. And so when this guy said, I need to escape, I need to figure out how to get out of here, they came up with a plan using the Adams Express Company to put him in a box, wrap him in some padding, give him a couple biscuits and a little bit of water and one air hole, and ship him from Virginia to Philadelphia. So they figured it all out. They found where they're going to ship him to. They're going to ship him to a Quaker merchant that was going to receive this large box. And yeah, let me find out where it was here. With the help of James C.A. Smith, free black man, and a sympathetic white shoemaker named Samuel A. Smith, Brown devised a plan to have himself shipped in a box to a free state by the Adams Express Company, known for its confidentiality and efficiency. Brown paid the U.S. $86. He paid $86 to ship himself, which is the equivalent of $3,150 in today's money. So he paid a little over $3,000 of 2023 money. What's going on with our money that it's worth so much more now? It's the prosperity of America. He had a savings of $166. So basically, he spent half his life savings to get shipped from Virginia to Pennsylvania. he got out of work that day at the tobacco factory by burning his hand to the bone with sulfuric acid. He was committed to doing this, guys. He was very committed. The box that he shipped himself in was 3 foot by 2.5 foot by 2 foot. It had the words dry goods on the side. It had some wool cloth it was lined with, and he had a small portion of water and a few biscuits. There was a single air hole, and it was nailed and tied with straps. He said it was later he wrote of his uncertain method of travel. It was worth the risk. If you've never been deprived of your liberty as I was, you cannot realize the power of the hope of freedom, which was to me indeed an anchor to the soul, both sure and steadfast. Do people not realize? I'm not saying we're slaves. I mean, we are. Not in the light that not in the light that Henry Brown was. I mean, we aren't that enslaved. But when you start to see that you can free yourself even a little bit, I'm not going to be boxing myself up and mailing myself, but it made me really realize as you awaken to the fact that there is a better way, you'll do a lot. You'll do a lot. John Palmer said, so he was a thief. I don't know. What did he steal? What did he steal? During the trip, which began on March 29th, 1849, his box was transported by wagon, railroad, steamboat, wagon again, railroad, ferry, railroad, and finally delivered on a wagon. He stole himself. I don't know if he stole himself. I don't know. Did he? Can one person really be owned by another person? Is that okay? 27 hours is all it took. You say, man, that was a long time to be in a box. I'm thinking that it's 1849, and how fast do you think the box makes it from Virginia to Pennsylvania? Jeremiah says he also got placed upside down when he got shipped. Yes, he did. He did. Although the box had this side up and handled with care, the company threw him around quite often, set him upside down, and he never got detected. He never got detected. Rewilder Life says, and yet we give up freedoms for so little now. That's kind of what I was getting at. I hate to bring up the slavery thing. It's such an extreme example. And it makes you think, though. John Palmer says I didn't say that it wasn't okay. I gotcha. Hunter says seems like it's quicker than snail mail now. Well, and that's the other thing that I was like, huh. We're excited when we get next day delivery on an item from Amazon, and this dude was putting himself in a box and hoping to get there in a couple days because all he had was a little bit of water and a couple biscuits. They're like, man, those dry goods are smelling like shit and piss. What? Did he just have to relieve himself on himself? And isn't that going to start making the box smell? The logistics of this kind of tripped me out. The guy went on to be an abolitionist, a speaker. He was a magician. He moved to the North, got worried that he was going to be sent back as an escaped slave, captured as an escaped slave, moved to England and actually was a performer for a long time and ended up moving back years later and eventually settled in Toronto for the last decade of his life. And that's where he died. And that's where he's entombed. Real Other Life says free market at work. And that's exactly what it was. The Adams Express Company basically said, we got a problem here. We got two problems. The mail is slow, and they open it up and will only ship what's in good favor with them. And they said there's an opening for someone that doesn't open the boxes, doesn't care what's in the boxes, and gets it there fast. And because they realized that Henry Box Brown made it to freedom. So I just thought it was an interesting story. It rolled up on my feed. I thought I'd share that with you guys. Inspirational story of shipping yourself at least a couple states. Would anybody dare ship themselves these days? We've talked twice on this show now about shipping humans. One was shipping kids across the country. At least they did those on trains. They didn't box them up or something like that. But two, it's the second one now is Henry Box Brown getting put in a box. John Palmer says, great, just forget about Mrs. Brown. They only called her Nancy, and then she was married. He was married again to a woman named Jane Floyd. In the Wikipedia listing, it says, born Henry Brown, 1815, Louisa County, Virginia, died June 15th, 1897, Toronto, Canada. Burial place, Toronto. Occupation, abolitionist, public speaker, magician, and mesmerist. His spouses were first wife, Nancy, sold by slave owner, and second wife, Jane Floyd. Rewilder Life says, if my freedom was at stake in that way, yeah, I would put myself in a box and ship myself. And Take the Ride says, an interesting story. It was. And it just caught my eye. I mean, we talk about all sorts of shit here. So why not talk about some dude that mailed himself? And I mean, I was excited to read the story. I figured that where I found the story, it had a good ending, like that he didn't die in transit or some shit. So I'm reading the story, waiting to find out what happened to him, and sounds like he lived a great life after he took the risk to mail himself somewhere and find his freedom. Oh god, you guys want to talk about Lake Nyos or the Blonsky device? Heard of either one? Has anybody, don't Google it, has anybody heard of the Blonsky device? The Blonsky device. I'll give you a time reference. It was patented in 1965. Or Lake Nyos disaster, which was in 1986. We're throwing it back. We got either a device patented in 1965 or a lake disaster in 1986. What do you want? Hunter's never heard of the Blonsky device. Probably never heard of Lake Nyos either. 15 minutes. Good morning, Seattle says, I love watching Blonsky. Okay, well, we'll talk about the Blonsky device here. The Blonsky device. In 1965, it's too good. It's too good. So the Blonskys went to Africa, and they saw an elephant being born. And they felt that they felt there was a better way to deliver children when a woman's in labor. There's a better way to Jesus, I can't even start to talk about this. There was a better way to deliver children than the normal doctor positions himself in the exit and coaches the baby out, assists the baby out, delivers the baby. Sometimes mom doesn't fare so well. Sometimes the baby doesn't fare so well. The Blonskys wanted to use science to their advantage, specifically centrifugal force. And if you know what centrifugal force is, it's like if you got a bucket with water in it, you start spinning it around in a circle, all the water gets pushed to the outside. I'm gonna pop up the picture of the drawing of the Blonsky device. So what this was, what this was a device that we would strap a woman in who's in labor. You strap her to the table in the typical gynecological exam position, and we were going to attach a net where the doctor would be normally receiving the delivery of the baby. And we're going to strap her to this table and we're going to turn it on. And it's going to start spinning around in a circle. And like, who the fuck thinks this is going to work? And so they're going to keep turning it up, and it's going to spin around and around and around. And eventually the baby is just going to expel itself from the birth canal and be caught in the net. Hunter says, I picture them standing up to the side with a pom-pom. Maybe Take the Ride says, oh man, this doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good. I don't know if this thing was actually ever used. Oh, did I say that wrong? Hunter says centrifugal force or centrifugal force. I think centrifugal force. I'm not sure. Good morning, Seattle says, is that why I like amusement parks? It is a centrifuge. Centrifugal force. I don't know. I didn't find quite. I didn't find if this was actually ever used. The article that I ended up. Here. So this is how this thing came to. He saw an elephant birthing. He says the large mammal spun in wide, slow circles. As he watched, George hypothesized that the spinning helped the elephant deliver its 250-pound baby. The engineer ran the numbers, calculating the anatomical physics of twirling in labor. If Blonsky was right, his insight might transform human childbirth too. George and Charlotte Blonsky, his wife, helped him with this. They didn't have any children, by the way. Suggested that modern women were ill-equipped to give birth. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to find out if they actually used it. So they didn't spin her around like the tilt-a-whirl, guys. The device worked by creating a gentle, evenly distributed, properly directed, precision-controlled force that acts in unison with and supplements her own efforts, so that such centrifugal force and her efforts act in concert to overcome the action of resisting forces and facilitate the delivery of the child. That was definitely written by someone that's never pushed a kid out of their vagina, I'm guessing. The inventors described how the vari speed, VARI speed, variable speed, vertical gear motor rotated women until their babies would theoretically fly out of the mother. During the operation, the operator gradually speeds up the machine to the predetermined force, which is expected to produce the birth of the child. And if such force did not accomplish this, he does not exceed it unless the physician decides to go with higher G forces. God. Hunter says, wait. They saw elephants and came up with this idea. Do elephants spin around when they're having birth for 2 days? I think they might walk in circles. But I don't think that Mr. Blonsky realized that somebody just pacing in circles does not make the baby fly out of them. Take the ride, leave it to an engineer to overcomplicate something, especially something so natural that's been happening for millennia. The Blonsky device, of course, came with critical safety features. We were safety conscious even back in the 60s. In addition to straps holding down the woman, the spinning table featured a net meant to snatch up the newborn baby. The device would stop immediately after the pocket-shaped reception net made of strong elastic material caught the infant. Somehow, the U.S. Patent Office granted the Blonsky device a patent in 1965. Oh, here's the question. Here's the question that I did anyone use the Blonsky device? Thankfully, there's no evidence that the Blonsky device was ever actually used during childbirth. The massive device was expensive and quite complex, according to research. And many rightly wondered if a tiny net was the best solution to catch a newborn flung into the world for the first time. Jesus. The Blonskys were definitely safety conscious. The Blonskys certainly considered safety. Their patent application described thick fencing around the device that would prevent personnel from getting too close to the spinning labor table. However, the patent did not address key concerns such as how to proceed if the spinning patient began to vomit, or how to check the progress of labor under centrifugal force. You were right, Hunter. Is centrifugal, not centripetal. In their patent application, the Blonskys claim that the fetus needs the application of considerable propelling force to enable it to push aside the constricting vaginal walls. Somehow, though, generations of pregnant people have given birth without a giant spinning machine. The greatest minds. Our country, the United States of America, is full of, even since the 60s, the greatest minds in the world. The greatest minds. Who thinks this is a good idea? Like, I could see some dude, some guy, some engineer, never laid hands on a woman other than his mom, sitting in a lab somewhere, and he's like, I know, I'm gonna invent the next baby popper. This dude's wife helped him. Now, she had never had any babies, so maybe that's the difference there. But you would, what are they doing to us right now in the medical world that you're like, probably in 30 years, people are going to look back and be like, what the fuck were they thinking? I guess we're now 60 years. Take the ride says, I'll take totally ridiculous inventions for 5,000, please. They never used it, but that doesn't mean that some things didn't sneak through. Like the fact that they got a patent for this, I guess they can give you a patent for fucking anything. It doesn't mean that anybody's going to use it. Good morning, Seattle says Ozempic. I'm not sure what that is. Is that some sort of drug? Fertility drug, maybe? For weight loss, huh? Interesting. It's Ivy. Okay, I Googled it real quick, and I had to. Okay, so I put it in a search engine. I see this description just says nothing. This description shows the cost and the cost. I had to get to the third listing to get to like what it actually does, and it looks like it controls blood sugar for self-induced diabetes, and there is also a potential risk of more serious side effects such as pancreatitis or thyroid tumors. you might lose some weight, but you'll grow a tumor. Good morning, Seattle says it kills you when you stop. Oh, cool. So basically, they're artificially lowering your blood sugar, so when they stop giving it to you, your blood sugar spikes and you fucking die. What could go wrong? I'll take the ride. We'll file this patent under retarded. Right. Hunter says, think of an IUD, not IED. IUD. Who came up with sticking copper wire up there? For thousands and thousands of years, when you didn't want something to come out of a hole, you just plugged it. I mean, that's just basic troubleshooting. I can't go on. I can't go on, guys. I just can't go on after this. So the Blonsky machine. Tomorrow we're gonna catch up on. We'll hit the Lake Nyos, which was an interesting thing. I had never heard of it. I thought it was interesting when I saw it. Good morning, Seattle said I wouldn't trust an Israeli IUD or cell phone for that matter. Then we'll talk about some other freaks of nature that I've come across. And guys, I have I gotta find out what the exact address is. Here at the end, I want to let you guys know I have a new email address. If you have a story or something that you would like, I'm gonna have to talk about it tomorrow, unless I can find it real quick while we're talking. I have an email address I set up, and if I can find it before the end of the show, I'll let you know. Here it is. Morning show at TheLOTSProject.com. Morning show, MorningShow, morning show, all one word, at TheLOTSProject.com. Go ahead and send any stories you want me to take a look at, any topics, anything you want to talk about. And I'm also in the works of possibly vetting some drop-ins through Podmatch. I had a couple people. I still have my old lots to talk about Lots to Talk About listing up on Podmatch, and when I changed the description of the podcast, it's flopped over, and I had a couple of people that also do live shows, and we've been chatting, so I might have some people drop by. So that'll be interesting. But if you have any topics or articles, you come across something interesting, funny, off the wall, weird, definitely drop it to morningshow@TheLOTSProject.com. I'm sure it'll be full of spam and crap, and so if I don't see it, I apologize. I will try to get through as much as I can. I suppose I could use the old Spearco trick and definitely put show topic in the show topic. Perfect. In the subject, put show topic, and I'll be able to search it. I mean, it would seem pretty simple. Morning show at TheLOTSProject.com. Hit it up if you got anything you want me to discuss. Other than that, let's wrap it up. It's Thursday. It's Thirsty Thursday. You get through Thursday, and then you have Friday. I got a bunch of interviews today. I'm gonna have a busy day. I got the Patreon page up and rolling for Direct and Detour. I got the 2 recorded episodes edited and posted over on the Patreon page. That's patreon.com/direct or detour. You can pre-release them. Also have a membership over there that'll start having more benefits as episodes roll out. And right at the moment, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Or you can listen to episodes early over there for a one-time purchase. So there is a free membership. There is a free membership level. Just go over. If you're on Patreon, it's super simple. You just hit join. If you have to sign up for Patreon, all you need is an email address and then hit join. There will be lots of free content there. I'm hoping to have guests. The guests I have on the show submit some relevant content, some interesting content, stuff to post up there after we do our interviews to follow up with them. We'll also have voting per episode to decide if we bring back people for some premium content, some long format hour plus chats like the old Lots to Talk About. So check it out, Director Detour over on Patreon. Also, the Facebook page is up. You can search it and find it. If you can't find it, let me know and I will send you a link. Hope you have an awesome day, guys. Hope you get a bunch of shit done. I'm hoping to get a bunch of shit done, and we will circle back and talk to you in the morning.